Hello, my friends. Dorothy Morgan here. We're going to talk about the new moon in Virgo. That's coming up very, very soon. It is at 4 degrees of Virgo, and we're going to focus on how to use that. It is making a connection to the soon to be infamous Mars in Gemini. But let's look at that chart, and we're going to share the screen with you so you get to see what I'm looking at too. And I'm going to talk to you about it and how we can use this energy of this new moon in Virgo. So here we are. Let me get rid of my face. We don't need to see that right now. Here we go. This is what it looks like for my latitude and longitude. I don't have the ascendant midheaven in here. We will not read the house placement for this because everybody is in a different place on the planet that's watching this. So this new moon at 4 degrees of Virgo and 3 minutes is on August 27th. And it is at 4:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So adjust for your time zone. And the house placement will be, again, dependent on where you're living. So we won't talk about that, but we will talk how we're going to use this. So unless we've already reached August 27th, 4:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the moon is in the final lunar phase. So I'd like to talk about that first. So if you watch this before the moon is new, don't do your intentions yet. Don't set those goals yet. You can be working on what feels important to you, however, no buts. However, at this point in time, at the time that I'm posting this, all the way until we have that new moon, that final lunar phase is what is in play. And that final lunar phase, that final 45 degrees of the moon behind the sun, represents an opportunity for releasing and for relaxing and for spending time in meditation, contemplation, and it's really giving ourselves that space and that room just to be and to slow down and not to continuously push. Now, you hear us say that when it comes to retrograde planets, and it is very true. We currently have all of the outer planets, plus the 2 social planets, are all now retrograde. Here's Uranus, Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, Pluto. The nodes are almost always retrograde. So basically, Jupiter out is retrograde. So we're already in a period of revisiting a ton of different things. But the purpose of today's video is talking about the new moon, but we still need to prep for it because we are putting this out ahead of time. It's like everybody else. I'm just only a couple of days ahead of time, unlike others who do it 2 weeks. I want to be closer to the energy of what I'm talking about. That's why I don't go out so early. So this new moon, before the new moon, actually, so take your time. So work with it. Take your time. Allow things that are coming to a completion and an end, and process those things. And if you're feeling exhausted, because a lot of people tend to feel super tired in this balsamic lunar phase, this final phase, there's 8 phases in the moon. Most people only talk about 2 or 4 of them. This is the final and 8th phase. So allow that respite. Allow yourself that period to relax. So part of the time that the moon is in Leo and all of the early part of Virgo, so 45 degrees, so that would be actually all of Leo, while the moon is in all of Leo, and while the moon is just coming up to meet the sun, we are in that respite period. So give yourself that opportunity, because that makes casting things, casting new goals, writing them out, casting spells, all these new things that we love to do at the new moon. It clears the deck for that. I always use seacoast analogies, clearing the deck, getting all the you-know-what off of it so we can start fresh. So what are we going to use and how are we going to use this new moon in Virgo? Well, of course, the new moon in Virgo. Virgo is the sun is there, the moon is there. It's about creating new routines and looking at how you could be of service to others if you're choosing to. Everybody has their own focus. So how can you be of service to others? You might want to write out some intentions there. And analyzing and organizing and categorizing, all of those are qualities of this new moon in Virgo. How do you want to use them? Do you need to organize something? Set some goals based off of that. Set goals based off of how you want to be of service to others, how you want to, find some time to analyze what's important for you and to categorize and to move forward in the details, but not to get stuck in the details, but to move forward in the details, which brings us clarity. And it brings us the opposite of being doubtful or fearful or worrisome. It brings us confidence that we are working on the details. And that's what I want us to do with that new moon in the sign of Virgo. Set those goals based off of what you can organize and analyze so you're able just to move forward and feel like you really have it together. It is making a square aspect to that Mars in Gemini. We've talked about that a little bit. He does not retrograde back to 4. He only retrogrades back to 8 degrees. So there's no shadow involved here. But what we do have, these are 2 Mercury ruled zodiac signs. All right. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And they're in a mutable square to each other. So that also tells me that there are some adjustments. Squares do require a little bit of adjustment, but when they're mutable squares, I find that it just takes just a small amount of effort to move past whatever that obstacle might be. Just sometimes it takes a little practice, like jumping a hurdle if you're in track, right? If you're in track and field, the hurdles start shorter and they get a little taller. It just takes practice. Right? That's a mutable square. That's how I see a mutable square. We do have a grand cross here in fixed. That's definitely part of this new moon energy, but the specifics of the new moon is not connected to that fixed grand cross there. So to have this mutable new moon with mutable Mars in Gemini, ruled by Mercury, who's in Capricorn, Capricorn, in Libra, cardinal sign, that was what I was trying to say. It's a much more important opportunity here. Oh, my phone just caught me. Been waiting for the doctors to call me back all day, and I'm recording this after 5. And so I've been like, this is a detail. This is a detail. I'll be like, oh, who's on my phone all day working with clients? It's like, oh, if my phone rings, I'm going to have to take it. Well, there we go. Talking about details. Back to this. So I want us to recognize the reason I'm talking about Mercury is because Mercury rules Virgo and Libra. Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. Mercury in the sign of Libra, looking for that harmony. It is also making an aspect to Mars. So we have this opportunity, this beautiful opportunity with this new moon to get really clear on what we want. So again, we can organize, analyze, sift through the information, take action, Mars and Gemini, when we're ready to, and do it in a very balanced and harmonious way, because Mercury, the ruler of Virgo and Gemini, is in a beautifully harmonious trine. It's an elemental trine, right? Both air, to Mars. So we have a wonderful opportunity here. So to feel good, to feel confident, to feel like we have an opportunity to grow. And that is what this new moon in Virgo has to offer all of us. And if you'd like more of this, please, you're welcome to support me here on YouTube by just subscribing and sharing using that hashtag Dorothy Morgan Astrologer. And, on Patreon, you can come and support me there. And I do a lot more detailed videos there, especially tier 3 and tier 4. And you're welcome to come and support me there in that way if you like. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here, and have a fabulous new moon in Virgo. And I will see you again next time. Blessings and namaste.